Hey everybody. In today's lesson, what we want to do is explore these math functions again. They're such interesting shapes, and I thought it would be interesting to add a wireframe modifier to two of the same math function shapes and let one be solid and the other wireframe, and explore how light interacts and not set it on a plane or a cube this time. So let me just get you over to, I'm looking through the camera view right now, and this is a Klein shape in the math XYZ. It's really kind of interesting, and leaving it somewhat low poly and taking a look at the relationship of the wireframe grid and the curvilinear hyperparabolic curve. It provides a nice contrast. So why don't we get started here? Whoops. So File New, General, don't save, and let's delete the cube here. So just hit the letter X and delete. And then if you haven't already added the extra object mesh for the XYZ math function, come up to Edit, Preferences, and click Add-ons. And what we're looking for are the extra objects. Add mesh extra objects right here, so just click that on. Okay. If you don't see that, you can look in this drop down and look for mesh right here, and then it'll show up. Okay, so Shift A, mesh, math function, XYZ math surface, and this is the default shape that we've worked with. And come right down here to the object properties box and click that open before you do anything, and click open the operator presets and look for Klein for that shape that I first showed you right here. Okay. So we're gonna, as we open this, it goes into edit mode, so we want to go over to object mode with it, and this button up here will show us the overlay of the mesh, and we could turn that off right there. And then I'm going to repeat this process. Shift A, mesh, math function, XYZ math surface, and click on Klein. And it added a second Klein on top of the first. And you can see that up here in the outliner, function and function 001. All right, let's see. So with that selected, I'm going to add a modifier to it and make that a wireframe. In object mode. So I went over to object mode again and added a modifier properties and the wireframe, and thickness, you could bring that up a little bit. Right there is 0.05. If you want to go a little thicker with it, 0.06, experiment with that, and that's entirely up to you. Great. So next, let's see, the world, I'm going to make it black, so I click the world, color, bring it down to black, and materials button, I'm going to click new, so I click the materials button, this orb, new, and base color, I'm going to make it this golden color like that. Metallic, I'm putting up to 1. Roughness down to 0.2 or so. Okay, now the first XYZ Klein object is click on that on the outliner, and let's give it a base color and leave the properties alone. So I'm going to just add a yellow. And now let's preview it. I'm going to go over to Cycles. So click the back of the camera icon and choose Cycles here. And I'm going to add in GPU compute. Okay, the light, I'm going to dial up the light a little bit more. Not a lot more, just a bit. So click on the light properties, and the power maybe 1500. That should do it. Now let's set up the camera. So I'm going to hit N, click on the View tab, and then lock camera to view. Then N to disappear that, and then 0. And that's looking through the camera. And at this point, basically we're just going to think about filling the frame with interesting curvilinear shapes, very sculptural, really beautiful shapes here. Let's see what else. The rendering, let's see. I'll pull this down to 75 for now on the size output. In terms of how many steps to render, 32 would be enough. So I clicked on the camera again, and then also toggle out denoising and click under Render NLM. Great. So now when you hit F12, we're in a great position to find some interesting compositions within this wonderful Klein curvilinear shape. I'll pause it here for a second. Okay, so that took me 35 seconds to render it using Cycles Render. And make sure you save the image, save as, and name it down here. Klein 1. And know where you're putting it. It's going into Documents here, and I'm saving it as a ping. Save as image. So for variations, try different zoom amounts, try different angles in here. That's kind of nice. Hit F12. Do one more for you. Let me pause it again. Okay, that's nice. Make sure you save this and put it in your Google Drive. And save as image. So one more variation I'm thinking about is to add another light. And I'm going to go back to solid mode temporarily and zoom out. Get out of the camera view and Shift A and a light and a point light. I'm going to click on the Move tool to see where it is, and and put it kind of right in the middle of this shape here. You don't have to get too exact, but I just want to know that it's going to illuminate from the inside. And that light properties, I'm going to give it some color. And the power, let's take it up to 1,000 just to see what happens. Let me preview this. Okay. Experiment with the power here and see what you think. If you want to go with the opposite on the color wheel to see what that might look like from the yellow gold range. Whether you want to move the light up a little higher, just play with it a bit. Take it back towards the reds here. 0. Zoom in. You can see that there's lots of possibilities. That's kind of cool. Let me pause one more time. All right. Save as, and Klein 3. Okay, so that's, if you want to do a similar exploration with some of the other shapes in the math function, I'd love to see what you come up with, and great. So take care and see you in the next one.